So we are going to use the data tables. What is data table? This tool is very good if you want to make a kind of table in your HTML, and it is free. Okay. So I like something free. So I always give you the free stuff. If you need to pay, yeah, it's up to you, but it's free. I think some of them are commercial, so you need to pay to get more function. But with the free stuff, I think still okay. So you can get the two files, so the CSS and the JS. It means you can design the table as it is based on the format in the CSS and the JS. So there are many examples, so you can refer to this example. Let's say I want to use, for example, zero configuration. Then yeah, the table will be like this, and then you can easily have the format like I want to sort based on the name. I want to sort based on the always. Okay, so I think last time we have one example about the data tables. Now let's look into the detail. So last time we have one very simple example about how we can show the data in the table in this data tables. Now, how we can show the JSON. So this JSON, let me have this code. I will have the view JSON and I will make a view JSON.html. So I will go to views.py. So the views.py, I will have a new function which is view JSON. Maybe for the easy to see all the functions, you can go to the tool windows. So in the view in Python, you can go to tool windows and you can go to the structure. Then it will open a panel in the left. You can see that okay, I have the JSON view, I have view width, I have view JSON. So this is the structure of your code. Now I'm having the view JSON, and then I would like to view it into the JSON.html. Now I want to put the path, okay, view JSON. Into the urls.py. So let me have one more, and then you can import it from the views. Okay, and after you have this, and then you can check the view JSON.html. Okay, let me just copy this code, and then I will make the new HTML file view JSON. Okay, after you finish with this stuff, let's try to write. Oh, okay. Now you can see that the JSON that we have has been transformed into the data table. So what is this data? This is from the JSON that you have this one. So this is a book. And the title is Python, the authors is John and Bob, and date is 2013, and with the publisher is Springer. The other book is Information System, the author is Andrew and Martin, the publisher is Elsevier. The book title number 3 is Database, the author is this one, and the date is 2016, and the publisher is Willy. And I want to show this one into the web, and I want to show it into a table. Then you will see this one. The title is Database, and the date is 2016, and the publisher is Willy, and so on. So with this data table, you don't need to create the table in your HTML because they provide all the code from the CSS and the JS. And then you can just like sort the data according to the lowest or according to the highest value. Now let's look on the code. I think you already know the view. Okay, the view is just to send or just to call the view JSON, and the URL is just to call the function. But the important thing is in this view JSON.html. So in this view JSON.html, we are just using the jQuery. So we will learn about jQuery in the next chapter. And then we are using the data tables. So we call this data table. So for some libraries, you can just extract or you can just use the link. So in this case, I'm using the data tables.min.css, and I also use the JavaScript. Okay. As you see in the data tables, okay, whenever you do this, whenever you want to create the data tables, you need to have these two. So the CSS and then the JS. So in this code, I use the CSS of the data tables and I use the JS of the data tables. And then for the table that I created here, I will just use the example. So the ID is example, and then I will just display the table. And what I'm going to display here is three kinds of attributes. So I would like to show the title, the date, and the publisher. So this is the title or the header of the table. And then just finish the table because all the contents will be using the Ajax or the JavaScript. And the format of the table will use the data tables. So here is the script. The script means the JavaScript. The first, I would like to make the document ready. It means I would like to make the HTML page ready, and I will call the example. This example means the example of the table. And then we will learn more about this one. So we use the shop, and we have the $sign. So the $sign and the shop is important in the jQuery. So we will learn more later about this one. And in this example, I would like to use the data table. So I just call the function data table because I already have the link. So this JavaScript and this CSS is connected to the data table. So you can just reuse the library. Nowadays, there are many libraries that are available for creating like time or creating a good visualization. So you can reuse that one and then you can just call it. And then now I would like to call this Ajax. This Ajax contains two attributes. The first attribute is the URL. It means I want to know where is the data. So this is the thing that I already teach you before. I want to show the JSON data. So this is the JSON data. This is the book that I shared to you before. And I want to read this JSON and I want to parse it into a table. So this data source is starting from book. Do you know that the name? This one? The source name is book. So I want to start from the key, which is book. And what I'm going to check the data is the column. So the column that I want to use is title, date, and publisher. And I put those into a list. So this is a list. You know, in Python, we have the list. And then in every of the item, it is a dictionary. So I want to put the data of the title, I want to put the data of the date, I want to put the data of publisher into a list, and then after I have those data, I will import it into the data table that will be displayed in screen. Okay, so that's why we can get the title, date, and publisher according to this item. So if you look at this one, then we have the title, date, and publisher. Okay, so this is the explanation. We have the example, it refers to the ID example in the HTML, and we will display using the data table. And then this is the JSON source. So if you have any source, you can just put the link and then you can extract into your HTML file. And then this is the name we want to put into the variable data source, or because this is the parent key and this is the children key. So the title, the date, and the publishers, we want to put those into the data, and the data will be the column of the data table. Okay. Now, let's look at another example. I have one JSON file. So this is from another website. This is a movie theater. And yeah, not many sites they want to share the data, but this site they share the data. And let's look at the data. So you can see that this data is in the format of REST framework. And all those data are in the JSON format. They just show it into the Django REST framework because they want to make it in the very easy way to look at this data. So you can have the function here in the REST framework. Let's say I want to see the favorite movie. They don't share. Okay. So you can see that there are 200 pages. And yeah, these are the data. Let's try to collect this data. How can we get this data? So most of the time it is difficult to understand the structure. Hence, we need to acquire the data dictionary or schema to understand the entire data. So whenever you want to extract, it's tough. It's difficult to understand all. So yeah, just try to understand the very basic one. Maybe because it's movie, we can check the title, or we can check the actor. Now let's look at this. I will use the same few JSON, okay, but I will change a little bit on this JavaScript. So from the data table until the last part, I will copy and then I will change the view JSON.html, okay, from the table. Yeah, it's up to you. If you want to make another JSON file, it's okay. But let me just do this one. I hope by now you know that the script just remain the same. And then the table ID, now the name is example. But I would like to change the header into ID, title, language, and date. And the script is the same with the first one. So we are making the document ready. And then we are using the ID example, and then we want to start the date table. So in this case, I'm using the URL. The URL is the movie itself, and the data source is results. How do we know this one? In the previous section, we have the data source is book, but now I'm using result. So if you have the JSON schema, that is good. But if you don't have the schema, then you need to figure out what is the possible key to extract the data. So in this case, yeah, you have the count. Maybe this is only the children key. Next, okay, this is also another children key. Previous, this is another children key. Results, okay. If you look at this one, it seems this is the key, and it contains the data because it shows a list. Okay, maybe I can use this as the data source. And then, okay, I can see the ID is a number, and then the title is Avengers Secret Wars. The language is EN, it means English. The release date is this date, and this is the details. Okay, it shows that the details has an ID, and then the language is English. The title is this one. No information about director, no information about tagline, no information about the cast, but the storyline is this one. Okay. So I will just try to use the results as the data source. That's why I put this as results. And then I want to get all the possible data, and I want to put it into my web. So if the possible data is ID, title, language, and release date. Now, let's see. What is the result? Because of the data is huge, maybe it takes some time. Yeah, you can see that now my web can get all this data and show the relevant data in my web. It shows the ID, it shows the title, it shows the language, and then there is the possible real estate. And as you might know that there are many data in this link, so you can manage. Let's say I want to see 25 data. Okay, this is 25 data. You want to see 50 data. Oh, maybe. As I know, they just share only 20 data. Okay. So in this link, they share only 20 data. So you can get only 20 or 25 something. Then yeah, you can get all the data in your web page. Now, if I want to check another possible way with the REST, okay? Actually, what we already saw here is this is the REST framework. Okay? So the REST framework is similar with the JSON, but in the REST framework, they want to make it with the Crud system, because in the JSON it is the static, but with the REST framework they combine with the HTTP request, so we can create, we can read, we can update, we can delete. Now I have another example how if we want to use the REST framework. Now let's make another function with the REST. So I will do the view REST, and then I make another pet view REST. I will make another pet here, view REST, and then I will include the view REST. Okay, and then I will make view REST. I will make the view REST HTML. So I can change the HTML file with my view REST. And then let's check. So if you know, this one is the view REST that we already have before. This is from the data that we have, which is the HTTP, this localhost API. So let's look at this one. So when we use the Django REST framework, we can show the data that we have. So the movie also have this kind of view REST framework. So it means you can deal with any data that has been shared in the REST framework, and you can put it into your web. Of course, if the data is available in public, you can just directly use it. But some data are not available in public. So you need to access via like security protocol. So there will be another way. Okay. So I do not want to teach that one because it will be very unique. For example, if you want to access the API in Kakao, it will be different with Naver, it will be different with Google, and etc. So I will teach later about how we can extract, how we can use that kind of API if we have the token or some other ID. Yeah, for now, I think we already learned about the XML JSON and then the Django REST framework and the simple Ajax. Let's move to the the next one. So in this slide, I would like to teach you how we can use Ajax. And we are going to learn about the jQuery. What is the jQuery? Yeah, at the first we will learn about the Crud with Ajax. You know the Ajax already. Simple Ajax has been explained before. And then we will learn the basic jQuery. So you can later use some of the jQuery. And then we can learn later some implementation of the jQuery with basic syntax of Ajax. Now, is the starting question. You know already how to do the Crud with HTML. So you know how to use the Crud with Django, but there is another way to use the Crud with Ajax. So why? Why do we need Ajax for a Crud? So it can be used to provide an inline edit in a table. So whenever you deal with the data, you can modify the data like you already did in your mid exam. You can have form. Okay. And then when you have the form, you will have a kind of button. And then when you click submit, then you can modify the data in the server. But when you do with the Ajax, when you change something in the text, it can automatically change without submitting or without pressing the button. So it can create a new model instance without going back and forth in the website. So you don't need to click submit, you don't need to click cancel, but you can do directly in the same page. And then it can do CRUD operations in the application and manipulate models and database without having to refresh the web pages each time. So there are many advantages if you know how to use CRUD in Ajax. This is just a simple architecture to explain how we can deal with the CRUD with Ajax. So if you have the browser, what you can do at the first time is to do the request, the initial HTTP request, and then you will show the HTML, you can show the CSS, you can show the JavaScript, and you can also make the Ajax engine ready. If everything is ready, then the browser can just call the Ajax engine to do some changes, or maybe read the file, or maybe delete the file. And then this XML data will be appear in the browser. So we don't need to do any refresh on this page, but we just need to deal with this kind of engine. Okay, so this is the explanation. So with the Ajax, okay, we can just try with simple example. Let's use the basic REST, okay. And I will try to modify something and improve something so we can make some more complex examples. So you can have the idea how we can use the JavaScript to do the code. So first, let's modify the models in the folder post. And next, we will create additional templates, views, and URL for this group purpose. Okay. In the models.py, let's make another two attributes, like and dislike. Okay, I will go to the my folder basic REST, and then I go to the models. So this is the models in the basic REST. And then as I mentioned to you here, I want to create two additional columns. Okay. So these two additional columns, I will put it in this between the content and created at. So I have these two more columns. As you may know that if we have new columns, we need to make the column with a default value. Okay. So this default value is 0. Let's suppose, I want to know if I have the content or if I have some posts in my blog. So I want to know how many people who like my post, and I want to know who many people who dislike my post. Now, you already know the steps from the mid exam. Okay. you can make migration, you can migrate, and then you can go to the admin bits, and then let's put some numbers. Okay. You can just use the minutes.py. I can make migration post. Okay. So in the post, it shows that we have two fields. Okay, we have two fields. The first field is dislike and the other field is like. Okay, after I make migration, I can migrate. So everything is already in the uh, database, and then you can go to the admin. Okay. If I go to the admin, then you will see the post, and then yeah, we have 4 posts. The first post, you can see the like and dislike is 0. So let's try to do something. Yeah, I will follow this one. 101 for the first post. 100 for like and dislike is 1. Save. And then the second post is, let's say this is 82, and then this is 47. And then I go to the third post. So let's say this is 34. Okay, dislike is 95. And then the fourth post, we have like is 50, and then the dislike is 51. Okay. Now I would like to make another file named views. Okay, but because the previous views we deal with the JSON, we deal with the XML, so I do not want to make it more complex. Let's make another name, a file name, views underbar Crud. So until now, you just know that we can just use the views.py, but actually we can modify the file name. Views underbar Crud. Okay, and then in this file, I will put this code. So this code contain two functions. The first is index. It means I would like to open the index.html, and the index.html will be located in the folder Crud, and then read. So it will also open another page, p result, and it will be in the folder Crud. We can make another URLs. Okay, I will make the URLs underbar crud.py. So here I will make another Python file urls crud. So in this URL Crud, I would like to connect to the fuse Crud. Okay. So I just call the file name, which is fuse Crud, and then if I have no link or if I have nothing, then I will go to index. If I have the read link, then I will go to read function. And then after you have those two, please remember you need to update the parent. Create a new pet Crud on the urls.py in the parent folder. So I am using this one because I will use the urls Crud for this Crud function. So the urls in the parent folder. Okay, so this is the urls in the parent folder. I will put one more, which is Crud. So if I call the Crud, then it will go to the urls underbar Crud. Because we already know about the bootstrap, okay, so I will use many HTML file. We will create the base.html, index.html, and preresult.html. For the base HTML, yeah, let's make another folder Crud, and then this is the base.html. I will just make it not complex, because if it is too complex, the HTML file will be very long. So let's make a new folder in the templates. We can make directory, and then let's make the directory Crud. And then in the folder of Crud, I will make another HTML file, and then let's make the file name is base. So this is the base.html. Okay, so let's, yeah, this is the base.html in the folder Crud. And then, yeah, you can follow this one. You can create the index.html in the folder Crud. Okay, and then you can have the preresult.html in the folder Crud. So if you have already the HTML, three files, base, and then index, and then preresult, make sure that you also do the setting on your settings to find the static folder. Please remember what is the static. We want to access the image or JavaScript or any other static file. So here we can just do the static. We can find the static files directory, and then we use this one and then put them into the settings.py. So in the most bottom part, usually you already have this static URL. Okay, I can omit this one. Oh, OS. Oh, it seems I need to import the OS. Okay, so you need to import. Okay, you need to import the OS to make it available without error. So I put this one because some of you use not Windows, so it will be convenient to use this OS function. And let's make a JavaScript file. Okay. So this JavaScript file will be in the folder static. Okay. Last time I already teach you. I think it will be good if we have a kind of standard. And usually the developer for this kind of information system, they use this kind of standard. Make the static folder and then make the subfolder JS inside the folder static. So I will make a new directory and then I will make static, and then in the static I will make a JS folder, and then in this JS I will make this file. The file name is script underbar crud.js. I will make a JavaScript script underbar crud.js, and then I put this. Okay, if you finish with everything, let's try to look at the Crud. Okay, so we have the Crud with Ajax for the basic one. Okay, let's look at the HTML file. I think for the base, you know, we are using the navigation bar. So this one is to load the static. And then here, I use the bootstrap. And then yeah, this is a command to modify the contents to match with the device. So we have the navigation bar, and the navigation bar shows that it have the posts, we have the groups, we have the profile. It's just a format, right? And then here is the body. So the body block, it will be from another HTML file. So I skip this one first. Okay, login and sign up. You can just consider this later. For the body, this one, and then at the end or at the bottom of the part of this code, I call the static. Okay. So the static here is to call the JS, which is the script underbar group.js. So I will use the JavaScript file that has been specified in this JS. For the index, for this index, it is the body block, and this is a form. So this form is using the CSRF token. I think you already know from the mid exam. This will show you the title and the content that you want to include. And then everything that you finish with this part, you will show it in the result. Okay. So what is this result? This result is related with the table here. Okay. So we have a table. This table is 5 attributes: title, content, like, dislike, and action. And in the body of this table, we want to show the post, which is the title, content, like, and dislike. So how we can get this post? This post is from the use Crud. So the post is from the database. We want to put all the data in the post and then we post it into the P result. But how we can access this data? How the HTML understand that this is from the P result? So if you can see this one, in the JavaScript, they connect to result. The result is, what is the result? This ID result is from the index. Okay. This ID result is from the index, and I want to show for every of this result based on the P result. So that's why we show this table under this form, because this is the result ID that it is a table. Okay, I guess it's the time to finish, so I will continue the next section, next meeting. Okay, thank you very much for attending the class and see you next week.